Welcome to another briefing. So in this briefing, per usual, I'm going to start out with the satellite image. We're going to notice we have this weather system making its way across the state of California right now as we speak. There is a little bit of colder air. It's not a super cold system, but there's some colder air already infiltrating here as we're in sort of a trough in the jet stream right here. So that is helping to drop snow levels down below 6,000 feet. Could be a 5,000 foot snow level by later today for the Tahoe region, which will be good for snow accumulation for them. There are pieces of energy and moisture that are making its way into the Intermountain West, particularly parts of Idaho. Sun Valley region, the snow level is still roughly 6,500 to 7,000 feet from what I was just looking at, but should drop a bit and hopefully get some snow in the valley down there, and then they might benefit from another colder system, which will be more coming in from the Pacific Northwest, which won't really affect California that much. But in terms of California, we have this system pushing through now. There are periods of moderate to heavy rain, mostly in the Monterey Bay region and parts of the South Bay for the Bay Area here. For instance, where I am just north of San Francisco, it's been some light drizzle here and there. We had a heavier band of rain that came through earlier in the day, but it's been mostly light drizzle in the last few hours. If I just go ahead and put the radar overlay here, I can kind of loop through that a bit. So this was earlier in the morning. This was around 2 to 3 a.m. We had a heavier band. And then it's been mostly focused south of San Jose into the Monterey area. Parts of the peninsula getting in on some heavier rain. But you can see where that rain's been mostly focused today. I'm going to go ahead and show the computer model guidance now for the next 24 hours or so. Let's go ahead, last full 48-hour run, 12Z here. So as we go through this afternoon, Sunday the 4th, we have some scattered shower activity. Most of that rain is going to push further to the east. I put snow. You can see snow almost all the way down there. It looks like all the way down the Blue Canyon in this, so that snow level finally getting lower for some of those ski resorts and such. And then we have scattered showers, and then as we go into early Monday morning, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., this particular model wants to bring a pretty heavy band of rain into the Bay Area, and then maybe some scattered showers behind it. It's worth noting some of the other guidance. If I put the NAM, for instance, because the national blend isn't really coming up, but the NAM, it keeps this shower activity mostly to the north. I can actually do this. So you're gonna see most of this going further north. The NAM actually only brings a light shower early in the morning, and then it wants everything further north pretty much. So that's something to watch there. Not all the models are agreeing with the rain, with the bulk of the rain going that far south. The national blend, yeah, the blend of models wants most of that rain further north. So I don't know. It would be nice if we get some of those stronger cells on the herd just in terms of weather watching, but we'll see, because a lot of this guidance is wanting that rain further north. Now, if we look out in the long range, you can see this is less granular, but it gives you a better idea of the bigger picture here. Because as we stand, as of right now, or just about 2 hours from now on this projection on the European model, you can see our next wave way out over the ocean over here. That's what's going to be coming in tomorrow morning. We have this wave that's going through the state right now. That's going to progress further east, and then it might actually dry out because it doesn't have a ton of energy with it. But let's watch what happens here. See, that kind of fizzles out, but here comes our next wave into tomorrow, and then that pushes south. And then you have our next system into the Pacific Northwest and parts of Idaho. And then you have an inside slider kind of system. Could maybe bring a shower or two to lower elevations for the Bay Area. It'll be a good snowmaker in the Sierra, a little colder even, maybe snow levels down to 4,000 feet, maybe a little lower, we shall see. And then that pushes through, maybe some chilly air behind that, and then this model wants to bring a pretty significant ridge. This is an older run, but there's something interesting here. We're going to do some comparison. So if you look, this is the 0Z run. This is from last night. And this particular run, as you go way out towards the end of the model run, it wants to dump a ton of cold air into the west coast. And it links it up with some moisture too, which would mean really low snow levels. Potentially 2,000 feet, potentially lower. Take it with a heavy grain of salt, and I'm about to show you why. So this was one model run from last night, and this relies on something. It's easier if I show it this way, actually, on this different platform, because the graphics are a little easier to show you if I use this. But basically, what that kind of pattern relies on is a big ridge. There has to be a major bulge in the height gradient, so warm air columns pushing way up into the Arctic Circle, which in turn displaces that frigid air that usually sits over the Arctic Circle and sends it down into, in this case, the Pacific Northwest and parts of California. But you see how it all depends on this ridge, where it sets up and how it tilts. See, because here you have sort of what we call a positive tilt, where it's tilting a little bit eastward, and that's causing this trough that's going to result in the other end of the wave to tilt a little bit westward. Now, let's compare this to the same time frame on the most recent model run, and this is drastically different. Now you can see on this model run, the ridge is not nearly as far north. It's going maybe a little bit into southern Alaska. That's not going into the Arctic Circle like the other run. So in turn, the trough doesn't push as far south. And this ridge is also a little further to the east, so the trough is also going to be a little further to the east. And the cold air is going to do something like this. This is actually a good setup to dump some good cold air into the Midwest and the East Coast, which have already had quite a bit this winter. But they might actually get some more of that, because the way that this setup is going, if this were to verify, this doesn't go as far north. So that cold air, a lot of that cold air still stays locked up over the Arctic, but parts of it do end up spilling into the Midwest and into the East Coast. But we wouldn't get it out west if the ridge sets up further east, and it's not as sharp. It's not going to push the cold air as far south either. So just drastic difference from like 12 hours run to run here. This is a way different scenario. So it's just interesting to see how this stuff can change, particularly when you're looking more than 2 weeks out, or 2 weeks out even, which is the case for this. There's a lot, more than 1 week out, I would say, on global models like this one. It's there's too much that can change. You can't get a solid forecast from a global model more than 5 days out. It's nice to look at. You do look at it to see trends. Like I'll look all the way out to 2 weeks because I want to see how the models are trending, what each model is showing. You kind of get used to picking up patterns. Like, so I'm gonna compare it to, let's say, the GFS here. And what I tend to do when I'm looking at models is I'm seeing the trend. I'm seeing how they compare. I'm seeing what, if are they in agreement with a certain setup, are they not? For instance, the Euro and the GFS, pretty good agreement all the way out to the 6th here with this kind of troughing setup. Sort of a positively tilted trough, but not a very deep one. And over California, and then that inside slider system coming in. See the pulse of energy. Both models want to bring some sort of little trough, little piece of energy here. It's an inside slider. Good agreement. Cutoff low off the coast on both models. See, that's the kind of stuff you want to look at. And you want to see like what the trend of the pattern is looking like. And then you see both models bring some sort of ridging. And then little differences. See, the GFS wants another system off of the Pacific Northwest on the 11th. The Euro doesn't buy that. The Euro just wants more ridging. But in general, they show more ridging. Both models in pretty good agreement on more ridging for the West Coast. Maybe a cutoff low out by the 15th. This is actually more model agreement than we usually see this far out. Although there's some differences. Like, look at this, for instance. For the Midwest, the Euro has a way deeper trough here, more cold air into the Midwest and to the South. The GFS a lot more shallow with that. So there are differences that you start to see, and then you just want to look at the general trend. And what we can say that these models are agreeing on at this point is ridging out west, troughing out east. So warmer and drier out west, colder and wetter out east as we go past the 10th of January or so. Unfortunately, because I would like to see it colder and wetter out west, but I mean, this is what we're seeing in the trend. If I look at the Canadian, which is, so let me just go back. Here's the GFS. Let me put the Canadian. Another global model that we tend to look at. Same kind of thing. It's, okay, a little bit different positioning. This upper low is a little stronger. This position is different of the trough here, but same general pattern of ridge out west and trough out east. So that's the kind of stuff we tend to look at when we're looking long range, looking at computer models. And then this is just looking ahead into Friday. Could have some pretty cold temperatures in the Bay Area. And that is particularly because on the backside, see if I can load this full run. I can't. Okay, I'll use this one. So on the backside of this inside slider that comes through on the 7th, we have colder air, we have a surface high pressure, but you see these blue thickness lines, that's colder air coming in on the backside of this trough. That's why we could have a chilly morning. Looking at these projections of the National Blend of Models, PARA, improved National Blend of Models, for what would be Friday morning, the morning of the 9th for the Bay Area, you're looking at some pretty chilly air, looking at 31 for Santa Rosa. Definitely, I think, could see some upper 20s in the colder inland valleys of the North Bay. Some 20s in the foothills here for the Sierra. Widespread 30s for the Central Valley. This could mean frost for a lot of inland areas, except for like right along the bay shore of the San Francisco Bay and out by the ocean. But even Half Moon Bay, 42, that's pretty chilly for Half Moon Bay. 38 for Monterey. So it could be some chilly nights heading towards the end of this week. Anyways, I've been going on for a while now, so I'm going to end it here. I hope you got something out of this. I hope you were able to enjoy it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.